This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Good evening to you at 7 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starantino. Tonight, two of the largest universities in the state are shutting down class attendance to try to curb the spread of the coronavirus.
Indiana University has suspended in-person classes in response to COVID-19. This starts after spring break next week. In-person classes are set to begin again on April 6th, but that is subject to change. Two IU students have self-reported presumptively testing positive for the virus, but have not been on campus. And late this afternoon, Purdue University also announced it will halt in-person classes after spring break, which ends March 23rd.
This as the Indiana State Health Department confirmed two more cases today, coming to a total of 6 for the state. The first new case is a female in Boone County. The health department there says she had contact with a confirmed case at a social event out of state. She is isolating herself at home and is no longer showing symptoms.
The second new case is in Adams County in northeast Indiana. We don't know anything about that person. The other 4 cases already reported, one in Marion County, 2 in Hendricks, and 1 in Noble County.
RTV6 is continuing to keep a finger on the pulse of the coronavirus, not to frighten you, but instead to ease your fears with education.
As the virus continues to spread, RTV6's Stephanie Wade goes straight to the governor to get your questions answered.
Governor Holcomb telling me tonight we are, quote, remarkably prepared for the virus. He says he's been having weekly conversations with the vice president, making sure we have the resources and agencies in place.
What can you say and what can you tell Hoosiers who might be feeling fearful or afraid of the coronavirus?
Well, there's no fear. We need to be prepared.
And that's what the governor says they've been doing tonight after having 2 more confirmed cases of the coronavirus Tuesday, making the total of 6 cases in Indiana right now.
This will be different in different situations, whether it's events or schools or businesses. You need to respond appropriately. And as the facts change on the ground, you must have to change as well.
He's encouraging employers to work with their employees as we see school districts like Avon Community Schools taking action after 2 students showed symptoms. The governor saying their decision to close all of their schools through the rest of the month was the right one for them.
Employers need to be working with their employees. And again, different businesses deal with different circumstances and scenarios. Some have a workforce that travels perpetually, some never.
The message to folks at home.
As you look around the country and you look at the trends, what we have to do is make sure that people are taking the appropriate steps. The partnerships are in place. We have the resources.
Working for you, Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
Let's go over some of the numbers as we track the virus internationally. This evening, according to the Johns Hopkins University Coronavirus Tracker, over 118,000 cases of coronavirus have been confirmed across the globe. 4,200 people have died, but nearly 65,000 people have recovered. In the last 24 hours, Italy's death toll has climbed, even after the Italian government put the entire country on lockdown. In the U.S., at least 36 states now have positive cases. New York State has set up the first containment zone in the country. That means a 2-week total shutdown for a 1-mile radius, with the National Guard delivering food. As coronavirus cases spread across the U.S., you may be hearing a lot of information, and we are working for you to make sure we separate the fact from fiction. This week, RTV6 will bring you a special report, Coronavirus the Facts, from what it's like to be stuck in quarantine to rethinking exactly how you wash your hands. Join us this Friday at 7 p.m. for Coronavirus the Facts, only on RTV6. And we have also compiled everything you need to know about COVID-19 in one spot. You can find that on the IndyChannel.com/coronavirus.
Happening right now, a big turnout for the first meeting of the Northwest Hendricks School Board after a student walkout in response to the high school firing a whistleblower. This all ties back to a faculty member accused of sexual misconduct with a student. This is a live look at that meeting. RTV6 has cameras there. We checked the agenda. No public comment section is listed, so we'll have to see if students and families get to speak out over what's going on. Last week, Tri-West High School Attendance Secretary Dave Pyatt was fired after sharing video with law enforcement and RTV6. He told Call 6 Investigates Kara Kenny that he didn't trust the district to preserve the footage. The video showed teacher and coach Tyler Bruce entering a room with an underage student on multiple occasions and the lights going out. Pyatt was fired last Tuesday, partially for sharing that footage with RTV6, as stated in his termination letter. After Pyatt was fired, students and parents spoke out, some calling for the board to resign. We spoke to students and parents last week about how they feel about the situation.
Mine's a freshman, and even he knows the difference between right and wrong, which is more than I can say for some of these adults that are involved in this situation.
When allegations against Bruce were brought forward last summer, the Northwest Hendricks School Board voted to keep Bruce on paid administrative leave, despite the superintendent at the time of recommending Bruce be fired. RTV6 is at the board meeting right now. We plan to try to get the board member side of the story. We'll have the latest on RTV6 News at 11.
And right now we want to get to how your evening is looking out there in central Indiana. I'm here at the Tracking Center with Storm Team 6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory. It's kind of just been cloudy and gloomy and rainy.
It's the feel that's changed a lot today. The look has stayed the same, but it feels a whole lot cooler. Let's flash back to probably when you were asleep. This was 5:25 this morning, 57 in Indy, 60 in Evansville. Those temperatures in the rearview mirror now. Right now we're at 43 in Indy. Temperatures are in the 30s to the north. Cooler air taking over temporarily. We start to bounce back tomorrow. We'll see significantly warmer temperatures again on Thursday, but temperatures move from here into the 30s for all of us, just above freezing in Peru, 35 tomorrow morning in Lafayette. Otherwise, temperatures lower 30s most places. There's the wind marking the transition to the cooler temperatures, but also drier conditions. The rain is out of the picture. We'll stay cloudy tonight in the morning. Temperatures move from the low 40s into the mid to upper 40s by late morning, but we stay cloudy.
Well, here in the Hoosier State, we are all about basketball.
So that makes this year's State Fair theme extra fitting. It's basketball celebrating the state that grew the game. The official announcement came today at the Indiana State Fairgrounds Coliseum, where many memorable basketball moments have taken place over the decades. Another cool coincidence, the fairgrounds first opened in 1892, the same year basketball was introduced in our state.
And while basketball started in Massachusetts, Indiana can claim to have elevated that sport to its place it is today. State Fair leaders say our state's farming culture meant teens had time between harvest and planting to dribble around.
The coronavirus has far-reaching effects beyond your health, and it's hitting these businesses particularly hard. How Asian-owned shops are adapting to the crunch.
Then a bit later on, a family goes 2 decades knowing their son's killer is walking around free. Now new technology is changing everything. How advances in DNA databases are closing up long cold murder cases. Still ahead when RTV6 News continues.
Live on CourtTV.com.
This is the news on RTV6. The coronavirus epidemic is having major impacts on small Asian-run businesses here in the U.S.
Our Thomas Huppaugh found that some places say the number of their customers has been cut in half.
The Pacific Ocean market has been a staple of Asian American businesses in Aurora, Colorado for years.
My name is Betty Lamb. I am the owner's daughter, one of the 2 daughters of the Pacific Ocean Marketplace here.
There's such a variety of places to eat, different types of food, and things that you don't normally see in the ordinary market.
Within the last month, business has been somewhat of a roller coaster ride since the coronavirus first surfaced.
With people panicking across the country, we've heard stories in New York saying that there's no more rice, and in Atlanta there's no more rice, so people are continually to stock up on that.
The outbreak began in China and quickly spread across Asia. Since then, a growing number of coronavirus cases have been confirmed in the U.S., and customers seem to be staying away from Asian American businesses as a precaution. According to the New York Times, business at shops that sell Asian products dropped by 70% in the first 2 weeks of February. The Chinese Merchants Association in San Francisco says foot traffic in their Chinatown district dropped by 50%.
It's a little off and on right now. We're not too sure how it's going to go.
I think it's kind of sad. I think we're panicking for no reason at all.
That doesn't keep me from going out.
From the restaurants we work with, we have seen and heard that they're not doing very good, and that there have been a lot of customers that just, even loyal customers that haven't been going to their restaurants due to the coronavirus.
Betty hopes that the public continues to be educated and aware. That way Asian businesses can still thrive during these times. I'm Thomas Huppaugh.
Coming up here on RTV6, the coronavirus can stake out and live on your phone for days. Now the word on what you can and can't use to properly disinfect it.
Our big temperature changes will continue. In some spots, 20 degrees colder right now than we were 24 hours ago. We'll look ahead coming up.
Hoops. This is banking. A Fifth Third better.
This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Thanks to advances in forensic technology, there has been an arrest in a Marion County murder from nearly 2 decades ago.
The Marion County Prosecutor's Office says DNA evidence led to the arrest of William Swain for the sexual assault and murder of Arthur McFall. McFall's body was found inside a motel room in October of 2000. Investigators carefully preserved the evidence in the murder, which matched up with Swain after he was arrested for theft in 2018. Prosecutor Ryan Mears says it means a lot to be able to solve this for the victim's family.
Obviously, this has been an incredible ordeal for them, and I think there's a certain level of relief, but it also brings up something that's really, really difficult that their family member had to go through. But hopefully, at the end of this process, we'll be in a position to help bring that family justice and some level of closure.
Investigators say a fingerprint found at the crime scene eventually matched that of Swain. Prosecutors also say Swain's DNA was determined to match DNA that was found on wounds to McFall's neck. Both were used in the FBI's DNA database to match up with Swain.
And that cold case was solved with the assistance of COVID. The FBI's DNA database developed with modern technology. Databases like this are helping investigators solve similar cases across the nation right now. Our Elizabeth Ruiz takes us inside that process.
It was January of 1980 when 21-year-old Helene Pruszynski was kidnapped, raped, and murdered in Douglas County, Colorado. Her body was found in a field, but police never identified a suspect. Pruszynski's murder became a cold case.
We consider a case that does not have any viable leads after 1 to 2 years, a cold case.
However, cold case detective Shannon Jensen says the case was never forgotten. Detectives continued to reopen it for 40 years. Then, with the help of new DNA technology, the suspect was identified in December of last year as James Curtis Clanton. He will be sentenced on April 10th based on the first-degree murder laws in 1980. Pruszynski's sister, the only immediate family still living, finally received the closure she had waited decades for.
She couldn't believe that after all these years, we were able to identify and arrest a suspect in her sister's murder.
One key element to solving the case was DNA from people related to Clanton. Detective Jensen actively searched a public database called GEDmatch, which is used as a way for people to learn more about their family history. She came across Rob Deal, who turned out to be Clanton's fourth cousin. When Detective Jensen reached out, he says he went through a wide range of emotions.
A split second, you go, okay, I'm good. And then I think about my cousins who lived in the Denver area in the 1980s and thinking, oh, what if they're implicated?
But Rob says it didn't take long for him to realize he wanted to help, especially when he discovered how serious the crime was.
You just think it's been cold for decades and so long that if there's no evidence now, this isn't going to be solved.
So Rob gave Detective Jensen access to his family tree and his DNA. Those both are critical elements in a newly utilized DNA technology called genetic genealogy.
Traditional genealogy is using public records to document a person's family tree and their ancestors. Genetic genealogy is when you're using DNA to help with that process.
Cece Moore is the chief genetic genealogist at Parabon Nanolabs. Parabon didn't work on Miss Pruszynski's case, but the tech company has helped law enforcement across the nation identify more than 100 criminals the past 2 years.
For us, significant amounts of DNA could be less than 1%, which is really a breakthrough because previously with law enforcement cases, you needed to have an exact match or a very close family member.
In Pruszynski's case, law enforcement in 1980 collected plenty of DNA evidence and stored it properly, making it possible for detectives today to upload a DNA profile to find her killer. In fact, Detective Jensen says she's currently in the process of solving 2 more cold cases.
It's given new life to cases that we once thought might have been unsolvable.
In Douglas County, Colorado, I'm Elizabeth Ruiz reporting.
Well, good news if you're now trying to clean the germs off of your phone. Apple now says it is safe to use disinfecting wipes on your phone or iPad. Clorox wipes or others with up to 70% isopropyl alcohol are okay to use. Apple says just don't use any sprays, bleach, or other abrasives. Those can damage the coating on the screens or get into the device. Health officials say the coronavirus may be able to live up on surfaces for up to 9 days, so they are urging you to clean items like phones that you use a lot. Previously, tech companies warned against using wipes, but they now say it's okay.
Good to know. And you should be just wiping down everything you can right now.
At this point, right?
Hands-free weather coming up.
Even the clicker.
Yeah, I did wipe that off today, actually. 7/800ths of an inch of rainfall, just over 3/4 of an inch in Bloomington. That was overnight and this morning. We've kind of turned the page on the rainfall. It wasn't as heavy north of Interstate 70. There were little isolated spots, Vincennes toward Bloomington, Columbus, Shelbyville, Rushville, south. Okay, lots of clouds, no rain tonight. We're not expecting rain during the day tomorrow. You can see in the northern portion of the state, once you get north of Logansport, Monticello, Peru, there's been some breaks in the cloud cover, even some sunshine in the afternoon into the early evening hours. Our temperature trend, as we mentioned, much colder than 24 hours ago. We'll go back up tomorrow and then peak on Thursday with the warmest temperatures. It's 20 degrees colder in Muncie now than 24 hours ago. Temperatures 43 in Indy. The cooler, drier air will work its way in from the northwest on a northwest wind that will calm down, then become more southerly during the day tomorrow. Thursday, most likely time for rain Thursday night into early Friday morning. Spend the rest of Friday dry, and then as we get to the weekend, cooler temperatures in the weekend arrive at the same time. Our rain chances and even some snow mixing in possible as we get to Saturday night. Tomorrow, 42 after temperatures climb from that morning low around 6 a.m. of 39. We'll be at 50 midday. Afternoon reading 56. Wind out of the south, no stronger than about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Other temperatures, all in the 50s. These are above average. Our average high is 49 right now. Won't be long. We'll take the next step and have an average high right at 50 degrees. From Texas across Arkansas into Kentucky, Tennessee, and southern Indiana, there's a marginal or low risk for strong thunderstorms Thursday. I think they're more likely as you get to the Ohio River and south. I just point that out. We'll keep that in mind here as we move toward Thursday night. Thursday, cloudy. There's that line of showers, maybe some isolated thunderstorms. Terre Haute to Kokomo to Fort Wayne, just to the northwest of Indy at 11 o'clock on Thursday night. Temperatures Thursday, they're as warm as they'll be for the rest of the work week through the weekend. We'll start to bounce back early next week with temperatures in the 60s. There's your forecast for the weekend. Quite a bit cooler. 44 Saturday. Rain showers, as I mentioned, Saturday night may mix with some snow. Sunday, we're dry and 47. As you look at the 7-day planner, temperatures early next week bounce back into the low 50s Monday, 60s Tuesday. Beyond the 7-day forecast, above average temperatures are expected to continue.
Up and away.
You got it.
All right, thanks, Kevin, for that. Still ahead here on RTV6, the best things in life are free, but these researchers say you can give that to the birds and the bees. The science behind money buying happiness. Coming up when the news here on RTV6 continues.
Right now on RTV6, the old saying goes, money can't buy happiness.
But not so fast. A new study is backing up what the non-wealthy have been saying, that maybe it can buy happiness. Researchers had a group of 300 college students blindly choose between donating 350 euros to a nonprofit or receiving 100 euros for their own use. They found initially the students who gave the money away said they were happier, but the feeling didn't last. So a month later, those students said they were less happy than those who received the money.
Can you buy happiness in 3 easy payments?
$19.95.
I'm almost to happiness.
That'll do it for us here. We're happy, but we'll see you back here tonight at 11.
I'll be even happier.